If civil unrest ever creeps close to your neighborhood, your house is either going to look like a soft target or a giant hassle. This isn't about building a fantasy fortress. It's about making your home harder to enter, harder to scout, and harder to approach quietly using normal legal upgrades and smart habits. Quick disclaimer: this is general information for preparedness only. It's not legal advice, not medical advice, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything risky or illegal. Always follow local laws, building codes, and fire safety rules. Your goal is deterrence, delay, and staying safe. All right, here's the method. Think in layers. Layer 1 is your outside zone, the yard and approaches. Layer 2 is your shell, doors, windows, garage. Layer 3 is your inside plan, what you do if something feels wrong. Step 1, walk your property like a stranger would. Before you buy anything, do a simple audit. Walk your home at 3 different times. Daytime, what's visible? What's hidden? Where do shadows fall? Evening, where could someone stand without being seen? Night, which areas are dark enough that somebody could work quietly? You're looking for work zones, places where someone could mess with a door, window, or gate while staying out of sight. Common ones are side yards, the space behind a garage, and the area between a fence and the house. If someone could crouch there and not be seen from the street, you need to change that. Also look for free tools, ladders left outside, patio furniture that can be dragged under a window, loose bricks, unlocked gates, anything that makes entry easier. Your goal is simple: remove hiding spots and remove leverage. Step 2, harden the doors, because that's the main fight. Most break-ins are door frame failures, not lock picking, not hacker stuff, just brute force on weak wood. The highest value upgrade is boring, longer screws. Replace the tiny screws in your strike plate with long screws that bite into the wall stud. Do the same on the hinge side. That one change turns a quick kick-in into a louder, longer, uglier event. Noise and time are deterrents. If you want to go one step further, use a quality reinforcement plate or jam reinforcement kit. The goal is to spread force across the frame. Then add a simple interior door brace or wedge for nighttime, something you can remove quickly from the inside. Keep it safe and sane. Never block your own escape routes. One more thing people forget: visibility at the door. If you don't already have one, add a peephole or a door camera. Don't open your door to see what's going on. If you're unsure, you keep the door closed and you talk through it. Step 3, fix the window problem without making your house weird. Windows are the quiet entry. They're also the thing that makes people feel exposed at night. Start with the basics. Windows are the quiet entry. They're also the thing that makes people feel exposed at night. Make sure every window actually locks. For sliding windows and sliding doors, add a physical block in the track, a bar or dowel. Latches fail, physical blocks don't. If you want a real upgrade that still looks normal, use security film on ground floor windows. The point is that glass can still crack, but it won't instantly become an easy hand-sized hole. That slows entry and makes it louder. Curtains matter too. At night, your lit house turns windows into a display case, close blinds and curtains, especially on street-facing rooms. If you're in a higher-risk moment and you want extra protection, you can plan removable interior window barriers that don't permanently alter the house and don't trap you inside. Keep safety in mind. Windows can be emergency exits, so don't create a situation where you've locked yourself in. Step 4. Treat the garage like a main entry, not storage. Garages are a common weak point because they're big, quiet, and often ignored. 2 priorities. Don't leave the exterior garage access easy. Harden the door from the garage into the house. The garage-to-house door should be solid core if possible, with a strong lock and a reinforced frame, just like an exterior door. Also, don't leave the garage opener in a car parked outside. That's a shortcut criminals love. Step 5. Make your yard loud and visible without looking paranoid. This part is huge. Most people think security means locks. It also means exposure. Trim shrubs near doors and windows so nobody can crouch behind greenery and work undetected. You can still have landscaping, just don't give someone cover within 15 to 20 feet of your home. Lighting is one of the best upgrades, especially motion lighting covering approach paths and side yards. You're not trying to light up the whole neighborhood. You're trying to remove dark pockets where someone can lurk. Ground noise helps too. Gravel in key areas makes quiet movement harder. You don't need to turn your yard into a construction site. You just want to eliminate the silent approach. Lock your gates. If your gate can be opened casually, that's a problem. A simple lock and a habit of keeping it secured changes a lot. Step 6. Use alerts that give you time, not panic. Simple, cheap door and window contact alarms are underrated. Even if you don't use the loud siren mode, the notification and awareness can be enough. Driveway sensors can also be useful if they're reliable, but keep it simple. You want fewer systems that work every time, not a complicated setup that fails when you need it. Cameras are helpful for 2 reasons. You see what's happening without opening the door. They deter casual trouble. Place them to capture faces at entry points, not just wide shots of your yard. Step 7. Build an inside plan for your household. Home hardening means nothing if everyone panics and scatters. Have a simple plan. Where does everyone go if you hear something wrong? Who brings the phone? Who checks on kids or dependents? Where do you regroup? Pick one safe room area, usually a bedroom, and make it easy to get to at night. Keep a flashlight, a charged battery pack, and basic first aid there. The point is calm, not combat. Practice once, not a dramatic drill, just one calm walkthrough so everyone knows what to do without talking over each other. Step 8. Go gray and stop advertising comfort. During unrest, attention is risk. Keep your place boring. Don't broadcast supplies. Don't create loud routines that announce you're doing better than everyone else. Keep nighttime lighting controlled so you're not glowing like a beacon. Also, don't post real-time updates about where you are or what you're doing. In tense situations, loose information becomes pressure. Step 9. Prep for the boring problems that make people desperate. A lot of security issues start because of basic shortages and stress. Cover your basics. Water stored and a way to filter it. Food that doesn't require refrigeration, meds and hygiene, battery lighting and charging, a plan for heat or cooling depending on your climate. Also, sanitation matters. If services get disrupted, you want a simple, clean way to handle waste without turning your house into a health problem. Step 10. Know your exit plan even if you plan to stay. You're not planning to run, you're planning to have options. Know 2 ways out of your neighborhood. A local meetup point if you get separated. 1 out-of-area contact everyone can text if local networks are overloaded. Prepared doesn't mean aggressive. Prepared means calm, layered, and boring. If your home is hard to approach quietly, hard to breach fast, and you've got a simple family plan, you've already done what most people never do. Stay safe, stay legal, and keep it practical.